Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, episode 12 of season 2. The Butler did it. Figure that out when you get a chance. I'm your host, Eric. Main man right over there. Ron, how you?
How are you?
I am doing well. So much to unfold this week. I'm looking forward to this show. This is going to be one of the best we've done.
This is going to be good.
And we're going to start off with our leadoff story.
Lead off.
It has to go down as the Sweet 16 and what happened with some of these disappointments with the number one seeds going down. So 2 number one seeds fell, leaving only Kansas, who plays tonight against Providence, as the remaining top seed. The number one seeds are all done except for Kansas. Not sure how much you've seen or watched, Ron, but we can start off right with Arkansas defeating the top seed. So the number one seed overall was Gonzaga, 74-68. Another failed tournament for Mark Few. He's actually been, in several tournaments now where his teams have been the number one seed and not been able to advance. Arkansas as well is going to face Duke next in the Elite Eight. So I think that's going to be a fun matchup as well. You're talking about what Coach K did. They beat Texas Tech in a very close game. Ended up pulling it out 78-73. Coach K's 100th win in the tournament.
Wow.
So you think about, his last hurrah here. His team actually, during the game, actually went to him and said, Coach, can we switch to man? And it ended up being the best decision they made. And ended up getting him the victory. But you're talking about 2 tough teams now. Arkansas beating Gonzaga, the number one seed. Duke playing a very good Texas Tech team and able to win that out. If you had to look at both of them, we're going to do the predictions later, but think about how interesting that game's going to be.
Yeah, and at this point, it's his last season.
You're almost rooting for him.
Yeah, and there could be some of that magic mojo or whatever you want to call it in his favor. Like
it helps.
Like, look, who wouldn't want to see him go out on top?
There's plenty of people that wouldn't. I know there's a lot of people that don't like the ACC, don't like Duke basketball for whatever reason. Again, a lot of times when you win and you're successful, that tends to happen. So, again, he's run a good program where they've won consistently and have been relevant for quite some time now. That may be a reason. But there's another team here, Villanova, who beat Michigan 63-55. Jay Wright has done a phenomenal job with Villanova. They have been consistent for years. And again, another good game, another team that if you look at, honestly has all the capabilities of winning it all. And then you got Houston, who defeated the number one seed Arizona 72-60. And as I was doing some research, Houston is the second in the nation defensively in points allowed. So we talk about defense winning championships.
Yeah.
You're starting to see that Arizona was a very good team, wanted to run, was, up tempo. Houston was able to shut that down.
Well, that's the thing. If you have a great defensive team in this kind of a tournament, you only have to worry about one game against that team. So you don't have to get a best of 7. And so if you play shutdown defense for that one game,
yep,
that's what it takes.
And
they were able to do it and beat them.
Yeah, and the matchup now, Villanova, Houston. Again, now you're talking defense versus a very well-coached Villanova team. So that's going to be an interesting one. Let's talk a little bit about the games that are going on tonight. So in the East, you got number 8, North Carolina versus number 4, UCLA. Again, 2 storied franchises when you talk about from a college standpoint, what they've meant to college basketball. It's very interesting that if North Carolina wins and Duke, they might see each other in the Final Four. And then North Carolina, Duke, think about what North Carolina did to Mike Krzyzewski's last game at home. And they may face each other in the tournament again. Maybe a little revenge game. That would be interesting to see. Let's see. But UCLA is a very good team, and they're going to have their hands full just with that.
You know, things have a way of working out so you get the matchup that you crave. Because it's just it's just one of those things that people say, oh, well, if this happens, this would be an incredible match,
Yeah.
And, a lot of times that actually happens because of that.
I'm rooting for that one. I'd like to see that again.
We see it all the time in every sport.
Yeah. And there's still bad blood. There was some issues with, shaking hands at the end of the game. And so, you know that would be a very fiery game. Also in the East, number 3 Purdue faces the St. Peter's. So number 15, the Peacocks, the Cinderella story, able to do what you think they did today, Ron. If you didn't know, and for those that didn't know, it's National Peacock Day. So when you talk about
today,
the perfect, scenario for them and everything becoming aligned, them playing tonight on National Peacock Day, could we see another upset here? Could they get to the Elite Eight? You don't even want to say it because you're afraid to jinx them.
Well, that's part of the prediction, so I don't want to say what I think.
It is. Good call. Also now in the Midwest, number 1 Kansas, the only number 1 remaining, faces hometown number 4 Providence.
I'll tell you, that Providence team can play. They have size. They have that kind of ferociousness.
Yeah,
Ed can take over a game.
Yeah, Ed Cooley's done a phenomenal job with this team. And you think about a school like Providence who can't get top recruits,
right?
For the most part, he's built this team into a contender. This is going to be an extremely tough matchup. Again, it'll be in part of our prediction, so we won't call who's going to win right now. But also in the Midwest, number 11 Iowa State versus number 10 Miami. So 2 lower seeds. Other than St. Peter's, these are going to be the lowest seeds. So one of these teams will go to the Elite Eight.
That's good.
Right? And you think about, where they were seated and, again, the fact that they've been able to continue to drive. But it's been a fun weekend. Again, the games start later tonight.
Yeah.
Kenny doesn't trust Providence. And again, I didn't want to believe in Providence as well. I picked them last week to lose, and they ended up winning.
Yes, I picked them.
And you did pick them to win, which is probably the reason why we're tied again. But again, tonight, 7:09, I believe, is the first tip-off on one of the games. Great games tonight. Obviously, we'll see what happens at the Elite Eight. Next time we come on next week, Final Four. Already the Final Four. It goes that fast, which is unreal. But looking forward to the college basketball. Well, let's talk about the NFL and what they've continued to do in this offseason with all these moves. And this was originally going to be our top story, our leadoff story. But we ended up going with the NCAA and just those upsets. But let's talk about Matt Ryan, who's been traded to the Indianapolis Colts. First of all, your opinions on the trade itself, and then the Colts and what their chances are in the AFC.
Well, I know Matt Ryan is up there in years, but he can still throw the ball. He can still play this game, and frankly, I would take him over Wentz anyway.
So the funny thing, when I looked at the numbers, though, Wentz had a very good year. He threw more touchdowns and less interceptions than Matt Ryan.
Yep.
Matt Ryan only threw 400 yards more than Carson Wentz did.
He also had a way better team.
But yes, what I would say is this too: decision making, though, I would still go Matt Ryan before I would.
Absolutely, and it came down to that in the last game of the season for Indianapolis. That decision cost them the playoffs.
Yeah. So again, 9-8 last season. Again, not an overly tough division for them to stay. I mean, other than Tennessee.
Yeah.
And again, we don't know what Tennessee will be. Look, they were 16th in offense, 26.5 points, the Colts. If you talk about what they were able to do at Wentz, to me, Matt Ryan's even more of a legitimate. And now you give Matt Ryan the top running back in the league with Jonathan Taylor.
This is what I'm saying.
To me, it's a great scenario for him.
Look, he's not that. It wasn't that long ago he was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. What? 5 years ago? Yeah.
And you can't blame him for that loss.
No, that was the coaching.
You know, I mean, he gave him big, huge lead.
That was the coaching.
Yeah.
That was all coaching.
Yeah.
That wasn't the only trade this week, Ron.
No, that was not.
Tyreek Hill is now a Miami Dolphin. I put up a poll, and it's split right now between which team should Buffalo fare more, Miami, New England. The Jets got 0 votes. But Miami and New England have received the same amount of votes. I think 9 each out of 18. I personally feel like the Miami Dolphins are the team to beat in the AFC, and I'm going to tell you why. They shored up their offensive line. They grabbed Teron Armstead, top offensive tackle in the game.
Yep.
They grabbed Raheem Mostert. So you're talking about a quality running back.
Yep.
But sneaky, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not sold on Tua.
No, that's the problem, Eric.
Wait, hold on.
Time
out. Let me just finish this thought, and then you can go into this. So you got Waddle and Hill, and everybody's complaining about being able to throw the ball. With Tua, I didn't realize they signed Teddy Bridgewater. If Tua struggles early, and I'm not saying Teddy Bridgewater is great, but he would be an upgrade. If you got Teddy Bridgewater in there as the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, that changes the complexity of what we're talking about now as them being contenders. Because I am not sold on Tua. I don't think Tua holds on to this job. I think Bridgewater ends up taking over. Go ahead.
Okay, so I said this last season. Tua cannot throw the deep ball. Tyreek Hill does absolutely no good to him because he can't get it to him. He's not accurate downfield.
So go short.
Go 10 yards and turn around, and he can get it to you.
And then he does the yak. Yards after catch.
That's not going to work. Play after play after play. I don't care who you are. You know, the defense in this league is going to be too good for that. You know, they're not going to contend with Buffalo. They're not going to contend with anybody that has a solid defense.
So again, how do you pick New England over them? Think about what New England's done this offseason.
I know.
I know. So much better.
Look,
even though Manny doesn't agree.
I think that I have a little faith in what they do. Look, Belichick always puts them in a position to succeed. He really does. And I don't think it's going to be any different. He's piecing together a team, and everybody's scratching their heads like they do every single year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is he doing? He's finally lost it. And then they're okay.
Okay. I would still say Miami's a better team.
Look, I see what Miami has done. On paper, absolutely. But on paper, how many teams in the Patriots past were better than
what
anybody?
I would say is this. The one advantage that New England would have is coaching.
Yeah, that's a big advantage.
Mike McDaniel is a brand new coach. We obviously he's got to learn that role. Yeah. But if they were able to pull that trigger and say, look, Tua may not be the guy, and Bridgewater ends up playing, to me, that puts them in a much better situation to contend with Buffalo. I still think Buffalo's the cream of the crop. They're rising to the top. There's nobody in the AFC East that should beat them.
If Bridgewater becomes the starter, then that makes Tyreek Hill important because Bridgewater can go downfield.
All right. So
at least with decent accuracy. He'll throw picks, but it'll be definitely an upgrade. Look, I don't think Tua is a starter in this league. I don't think so. And I said that right from day one. I don't think he's that good. And I love when you get players that are going there. And I think it was Tyreek Hill, matter of fact, that said that he is the most epic quarterback in the NFL. That's what he said. And he came from playing with Mahomes.
Yeah.
It's like talking about talking through your butt
That's what $120 million gets
Yeah.
you, basically.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Turns you into a yes man.
Let's talk about this, our local team, and let's bring this picture up, and then you'll understand the title of this show today. And that would be one Malcolm Butler. And if you don't remember this play, one of the greatest plays in Patriots history, when
I still can't believe that
they didn't run the ball, Seattle, but he's returning to New England. So your thoughts about the move?
At this point, I think it's a great move for the Patriots. Now, there are still a lot of questions because he took all last year off. So did he lose a step? Did he lose that instinct, that he had? And he had good instincts,
yes,
obviously, from that play. And if it works, fantastic, but you better have a backup plan. And I think that backup plan is going to be drafting somebody and making them, the caliber cornerback that you need in this league.
I think ultimately, look, he's not the starter. He's probably a dime or, possibly a nickel corner for them. You think about the system, he knows the system. My concern would be, look, he sat out last year, ended up retiring. Now he's come back. What kind of skills does he still have remaining? That would be interesting to see. But look, 17 interceptions and 406 tackles in his career. And also 42 tackles, 2 interceptions in the playoffs, one of them being that Super Bowl one. So he understands the system. There's no learning curve. He's going to be able to jump in and be able to contribute right away. I would be concerned about, again, how much him taking that time off is going to actually affect him.
Yeah, did it slow him down is going to be a big key.
And then, again, if he has to be the starter, do I think that's a deficiency in New England? Absolutely. I don't think he's a starting cornerback. He's not replacing J.C. Jackson.
No, but if you can get 3 guys, in a rotation that does the job that you need it, look, there's not going to be as many turnovers, especially if we don't have a pass rush. Whether Judon plays like he did at the beginning of last season and stays that way, because he certainly wasn't that way at the end of the year.
Yeah, no, he definitely fell off at the end of the year.
So, when you have that big of a fall off from the whole team, like defensively, it was most of the team that fell off.
Yeah.
So, outside of a couple of players, and if you go back and watch our, end of the season for the Patriots, on Rhode Island Broadcasting, you can exactly. You can see what we thought of each individual position and what we talked about. So it wasn't just one guy that fell off. It was quite a lot of players.
So interesting name that's being mentioned is Stephon Gilmore.
I'm hoping that goes back into play.
So listen, if you get him, again, now you put Butler on the other side, that might make the difference. That's a different story.
Yeah.
Person goes to the AFC, meet the Okay, I love it. Let's go on to our triple play. And triple play, the Boston Red Sox obviously have a pretty young and potent starting infield. So we're going to decide.
I still can't believe that they ran the ball. They didn't run the ball there. You have the best running back in the league at that point.
Yeah.
He was averaging, 5.6 yards per carry?
In that Super Bowl, he was running all over him. So we're going to decide who we start, bench, and cut, and that would be between Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts, and Trevor Story. I am first this week, so again, I will give you the answers to the question.
That's funny.
We are starting. Notice how I said that. Xander Bogaerts. So if you look at his numbers, he has the highest batting average of the 3 of them, 290, over 1,200 hits, 141 RBI home runs, 610 RBIs, a 3-time All-Star, a 4-time Silver Slugger, and a 2-time World Series champ. So again, knows how to win. He's been in the organization. If I had a choice, I'm starting Xander Bogaerts. I am benching Rafael Devers. He batted .279 for his career so far, 598 hits, 112 home runs, 367 RBIs, one All-Star, one Silver Slugger, and again, won the World Series. So again, has that caliber, ability to win in the big games. So which means I'm cutting Trevor Story. His batting average is .272, 768 hits, 158 home runs, 450 RBIs, two-time All-Star, two-time Silver Slugger. But I also feel like some of those home runs, think about it, was in Colorado. So you have to cut back some of those home runs. The batting averages were much better for the other two. And obviously the pedigree of winning championships, to me, factored in more of why I cut Trevor Story.
Done?
I am done.
Okay, you're so wrong.
Not even close to being
wrong. You are wrong. Wrong. First of all, you have to start Devers. That bat is absolutely phenomenal. And you only have to look as far as you compare him to David Ortiz.
No way.
Oh, absolutely. This kid comes up clutch all the time.
I'm not even.
I've seen him win so many games already. Look, this kid can hit the ball deep. He gets a hold of it, it's out. It's out. Look at those RBIs he's piled.
You're out.
No, absolutely not. Devers needs to look. He's going to be a free agent soon. They need to shore him up before they even worry about Bogarts, because
we'll discuss
he is more important right now.
We'll discuss that.
He's a cleanup hitter. You know, he just rakes. He rakes, and it makes it look effortless. And not to mention how happy he is all the time.
Okay.
That's infectious. That is, again, I compare him to Poppy. He's like a little mini Poppy. And look, and I'm telling you, this kid...
Trademark that now, little Poppy.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm telling you. So I start him by a mile. It's not even close.
So go ahead. Who are you benching?
I am benching Bogarts.
Okay. I mean, you flip-flop them. I could see that, but I still... How do you go... You're talking about double the amount of hits, 11-point better batting average, 30 more home runs.
Okay, he's only got 30 home runs more because he's played longer.
But he's not a power hitter. And 610 RBIs to 367. He's driving in your runs.
Look, Devers has only been around for a few years, and he's already got big numbers. He's already got big numbers.
Only a couple-year difference, but go ahead.
Couple years. Okay, if he hits 35, 40 home runs every year, that piles up in a hurry.
Okay. So you're cutting Trevor Story.
I'm cutting Trevor Story. First of all, if you know what you have in Boston, in Devers and Bogarts, and they do it in Boston, why would you need somebody else to come in to replace one of them in Boston when he played in Colorado?
Yeah.
Like, I don't trust that at all.
No.
I don't trust it at all. He is not going to put up the same numbers. Mark my words.
So, basically, we flip-flopped start and bench. We both agree that Trevor Story would get cut.
Oh, absolutely. It wouldn't even be close for me.
So, let's talk some NBA, Ron.
Inba.
And I know this is one of your top players, one of your favorites.
Oh,
so New York City has lifted certain bans, which are now going to allow players and entertainers to play in arenas who are unvaccinated. So Kyrie Irving, who we know has been well documented as not being vaccinated, was unable to play at home, will not be able to play in Brooklyn for the rest of the season with the team. Do you consider them now favorites with this situation that has arose?
Well, I was considering them favorites anyway. you know,
pointing at you, Ron.
Like,
you take pointing at you. Kyrie's pointing at you.
Look, you take Kyrie off this team. To me, they're still the favorites. You still have a great team.
So I am going to disagree with you because that's what I do.
Yeah, I know. And
Listen,
most of the time you talk through your butt.
they're 20th defensively, giving up 112 points a game.
Yep.
They're one of the worst defensive teams in the league, even
Yep.
with Kyrie.
Yep.
15th in rebounding, 21st in steals. Does Kyrie help any of that?
No.
No. So I'm going Milwaukee, Boston, even Miami, as dysfunctional as they have been for the last month or so. I'd still consider more contenders than Brooklyn to come out of the East. Everybody's sleeping on Boston.
No.
And to me, I would relish.
It's going to be
the
one of the
opportunity.
three. It's not going to be anybody else. It's going to be one of those three.
But I'm telling you right now, I would take Brooklyn out of the mix. I don't think they're good enough defensively where they're going to be able, even with Kyrie, to overcome that. Because again, these games get a little closer in the playoffs. Things get tighter, and if you can't make a stop,
The problem with Brooklyn is not because of the defense or the defensive skills, because they have the skills.
yeah, they don't play defense.
They don't want to play defense.
Exactly.
That is the problem with Brooklyn, because you have too many personalities that is me. And KD is going to find out that he made a really poor decision on where to go play because you have too much of that me factor.
If he was in Boston right now with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, think about the destruction they would be causing in this league, because those guys want to play.
Yeah.
And all you would ask Kevin Durant at that point, look, you don't have to play defense. You throw
It
up
just
30.
took the Celtics a while to buy in.
Yeah. And to me, listen, Milwaukee plays defense. Boston plays defense. Miami plays defense. In the playoffs, you need that. Having Kyrie back, yes, is a benefit to them because now you talk chemistry, and it could make it easier for them to at least possibly get the 7 seed in the East. But they're still in that play-in game.
Yeah.
And if it goes into Toronto, Kyrie still can't play in that game.
Yeah, this is true.
Let's talk about another return. That was Chris Paul. So the number one team in the league in the NBA is the Phoenix Suns. They've now reached 16 wins on the season. Ended up winning last night 140-130 against the Denver Nuggets. Is there anyone that can beat the Phoenix Suns?
Look, they went how many weeks without Chris Paul? About a month?
About 5 weeks.
And nothing changed?
No, they're still the number one team. We expected them to fall off the cliff. It didn't happen.
No, yeah. And that's the leadership of Chris Paul. He was not in those games, but the leadership was.
Yeah.
Because he made sure that team didn't cave. And a lot of the lessons that he talked to all those younger players stuck. And to me, this could be Chris Paul's year to MVP.
Nah, I think he missed too many games.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
He missed a month. And that team didn't buckle because of him being there.
Look, he's
and that is important.
League, right? He's still the assist leader in the league. Played 30 minutes last night, 17 points, 13 assists.
Yeah.
Devin Booker, 39 minutes, scored 49 points and had 10 assists. You're talking about two. Every team now has like two. I don't think the big three anymore exists, but you have a solid two. And it's like Boston with Tatum and Brown, Kyrie and Durant. Paul and Booker are legitimate twos, the two stars on the Phoenix Suns. And then all those.
What about LeBron and Westbrook?
So listen, this is where I'm going to tell you right now that if I'm the Phoenix Suns, though, I'm worried about playing the Lakers in the first round, because now you're talking about Anthony Davis, who's going to come back probably in the next week or so. If he can stay healthy, which is a big if, we know. We've talked about it several times. But him, LeBron, think about what LeBron's doing right now, over almost 30 points a game at his age. Westbrook has finally started to kind of look like Westbrook, triple doubles in making some plays. I would be very nervous about playing them in the first round.
Oh, yeah, because you don't want to play a team that's supposed to be good.
You never know. Listen, some teams can turn on that switch.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And then look, you still got the Grizzlies, who have played very well, even without Ja Morant, who's now probably going to miss 2 weeks. If Ja Morant can come back healthy, and then you can't forget about the Warriors.
No, well, when you have Steph Curry and Clay that can shoot the lights out, they're always in a game,
At any
and it
point.
can turn around in a hurry.
So I mean, to me, if I'm the Phoenix Suns, look, they've had some. They made it to the Western Conference Finals, won it last year, and then lost in the finals. But
Last year
normally,
was
Chris Paul. I didn't realize Chris Paul has only been on 2 60-win teams. This is his second one. And you think about all those years he played and how great he's been, and all those good teams he's had. This is the second time that he's actually been on a 60-win team. So maybe, to your point, they've turned the corner, but I would still fear those 3 teams. I'm nervous about the Lakers. If I'm them, I would not want. It's no different than what happens in the East with Brooklyn.
Right.
There's not many teams in the East that want to play Brooklyn in the first round.
There's nobody who wants to play him in the first round.
And I think everybody's going to have that same fear if Anthony Davis is back.
Right. Oh, this is what I said a couple of weeks back during the preview show, the NBA show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, if you have to play the Lakers in the first round, like, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, who knows? They could just be determined. Like, LeBron can carry a team for one game. LeBron can carry a team for one series. He can't carry the team for a whole playoff run.
No.
But for a series, he can.
Yep. They're going to need Anthony Davis. So if you like what you're watching, check us out every Friday night. We're live. We're fan interactive. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, all live. Follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram. Don't have time to watch? Listen to us on our podcast on Amazon, Anchor, Google, Spotify, and now TuneIn. So many different ways to watch and listen. If you'd like to sponsor the show, reach out to us at our email, and that is ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. Send us an email. We'll give you all the information. Have thousands of eyes on your business daily. And then you can obviously help us, continue to do some great things with Sports Unfolded. But, check us out on Twitch as well. If you'd like to, follow, send some bits. We'd love to do that too. Major League Baseball time, Ron. Spring training's been happening now. A couple of big signings. So Carlos Carrera signs with the Minnesota Twins, 3 years, $105 million deal. Do you feel like this makes the Twins a competitor in the American League?
Yes.
Wrong. Go ahead.
A competitor in the American League?
They finished
all
last.
of the teams in the American League are competitors.
They finished last competitive.
But they bulked up their team. They got a pretty nice team. They should make a run for the Central.
They finished last in the Central last season.
But that Central
and
division
then you got the White
stinks.
Sox, who are probably the best team, or one of the best teams in America.
They can make a run in that division.
ERA last year, 4.83,
it's 26. A whole new team, Eric. They signed so many players. They signed a lot of players.
They signed pitchers?
Yes, they did.
All right, we'll have to check. 7 years with the Astros. Look, 277, 133 home runs, and 489 RBIs. I didn't realize, and now I learned something new. So not only is there a Gold Glove, but there's a Platinum Glove.
There's a Platinum Glove?
Platinum Glove, which this is the best fielder in each division.
Oh, come on.
So he was the Platinum for the American League. He won. He was the best defensive player in the American League last year.
Whatever.
So you think about that again from a standpoint of defensively, what they gain. I still question if they got enough pitching. We'll have to see what they picked up. Stay tuned on April 5th for our Major League Baseball preview show. That'll be on at 7 p.m. where we'll discuss all the team signings, everything that's happened, and we'll give you our picks for who's going to win the whole thing next season.
Obviously, you'll want to listen to me because I'm more informative.
in Major League Baseball. He has no clue what he's talking about.
Okay.
So let's bring up this guy because I know how excited you were that Boston signed him, and that would be Trevor Story.
I just told you I cut him.
He should be on the screen right now.
Yeah, but I don't want to put him up
he's
there.
He's coming up there. You love this guy now because think about what this means for Xander Bogaerts' future in Boston.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's not about the signing and if he's a good player. What do you feel the future for Xander Bogaerts now is in Boston?
Oh, he knows what the future is. He knows now the Red Sox aren't going to pay him.
Manny, thank you for the bits. Thank you. Yeah, so obviously, look, Xander Bogaerts has an option for 2023. I don't see him coming back to Boston. It doesn't make sense. Trevor Story's already agreed to move to second this season. So you think about it.
And he pointed that out, too. He made it clear for this season, I am playing second.
So
that's what he said.
Let me ask you this, though. Boston has to be all in to win it this year because next year you're losing Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah.
I don't like 6 years, $140 million deal. Don't like the move?
No, because if I'm going to give somebody $140 million, I'm going to give it to Bogaerts. Like, what is he going to do? What is he going to do for this team?
You know the amazing thing? As I was looking at the numbers for the triple play, I started to say if he got 6 years, 140, Xander's numbers are much better than Trevor Story's. He's going to get paid. He's going to get paid in the market. I'm going to ask you this, though. Is Boston smart to try to trade him this season to get something for him?
And this is what I said to you like about a week ago. Well, when Story signed with him, I said it. It's like Bogaerts is out. He's going to be gone. And this could be a Nomar Garciaparra all over again. You know, it's like, I know the Sox went on to win the World Series that year.
Yeah.
You know, but doing it a second time doesn't make it right. Because
you can't hold on to him.
Trading Garciaparra is one thing. Trading Bogaerts is another.
But what do you do? At some point, you got to try to move on from him because there's no way he's re-signing with you.
No, he's not. Especially when they went out and got Story. Now he's slighted.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't blame him because that's not what they should have done. Look, if you're going to spend $140 million, go get a pitcher that replaces Sale.
Who can't stay healthy, yeah.
You know? It's like, that's the guy that you got to replace. Because when was the last time he had a full season? Has he ever had one for the Sox?
He's already missed an opening day. He's already
this is what I'm saying. This is a team that's saying, oh, we're going to cut back on the salary, you know, so we don't go over the luxury tax, blah, blah, blah. And then you go sign Story for $140 million when it should have been invested in pitching.
Made no sense. And then you think about what the Twins, 3 years, 105, at least sign something short where you could say, look, if it's not working out, you'd be able to move on from the contract. 6 years, 140, and you're hoping that he's going to put up numbers that he put up in Colorado?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
So, you know, it's going to end up being a bad signing, and then you're going to lose Bogaerts on top of it. The Red Sox management's definitely going to be, you know, questioned about why they did this move in a couple of years. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Look, you know, whether you want to pay Bogaerts or not isn't really the issue here. It's you just wasted $140 million on a position that you don't need to have a slugger. You know, if you want a second baseman, why not give Arroyo a shot? Why not give it to him?
Yeah.
You know, if not, then go out there and sign Brock Holt as a backup plan. Like
Brock Holt.
You know, that he's available.
Oh, I know. I don't know.
I'm just saying, you know, that's what you do, a backup plan.
Yeah.
You know, and people will accept that because, like, okay, we're going to give Arroyo a shot. And if not, then we have to fill it in with Brock Holt or maybe a trade midseason.
Yeah. I think this signing, honestly, was more about the media pressuring Boston to make a move because so many people were questioning why they hadn't done anything.
Look, they haven't done anything. Look,
and I'm not a Red Sox fan. We all know this. But look, I would say this. I didn't want Story either in New York.
The offseason has been a disaster for the Red Sox because not only did you trade away Hunter Renfroe, who can hit 35-plus bombs, for Jackie Bradley Jr. to come back.
Yeah.
Really? To hit 200 if you're lucky?
If he goes 200, I mean, it's a win.
Like, I
His
know
numbers
he's
are
a great defensive player, but you just threw away the league leader in assists.
Yeah, you took a bat. You took a bat out of the lineup.
It's like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? This is a team that has made mistakes. And the sad part is the American League teams are so bad that it's probably not even going to matter.
Yeah. It's all National League again. So, Ron, the hockey guy,
I'm all fired up.
It's that time. NHL, man. Let's talk some NHL. Let's talk some hockey. Let's talk about Monday's trade deadline. So the deadline has passed in the NHL. There were some big surprises. And then there were some moves that didn't happen. So a couple of the big surprises. We know the Marc-Andre Fleury, Claude Giroux, who you talked about, was definitely going to get moved. Brandon Hagel, all expected to move.
And word on that, Giroux. The Bruins were wanting to trade him, but Claude Giroux turned away the Boston Bruins.
And he'll regret that when they're holding up the cup this year. So let me ask you, any other big moves that people really should have that should looked at? Not guys that haven't moved. We'll discuss that in a minute.
A big move really was Tampa Bay getting Hagel from Chicago. He's a young kid. I think he's like 23, 24 years old. He's a 20-goal scorer already. Now, it may not have dividends this year because, frankly, I think Tampa Bay looks old. I got to watch them last night.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, they're a shell of themselves right now.
You also got to realize, though, too, 2 straight years, how many games they had to play.
Yes.
You know, getting to the Stanley Cup is great, but you're talking about additional games now that you've had to play.
Oh, absolutely. So and that's going to come into play, you know, in a big way this year. So they got Hagel, and I think that is great for the team. And it may turn out to work for them. It may turn out. He got a goal. He got a short-handed goal last night. So that is a great. That's one of the better pickups, to be honest with you, because they got that youth to inject into their steady, veteran presence.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I think that was one of those trades that I really liked. Of course, Giroux, you're picking up a guy that knows how to play the game. Yeah. He's a great player. So Florida scored big, and that's the only place he wanted to go.
Yeah.
So like Colorado was turned away. He didn't want to go to the West Coast. He wanted to stay on the East Coast, and he wanted to go in Florida. That's what he wanted to do. All
right, so let me ask you some of these moves that didn't happen and why you think they didn't happen. So Zdeno Chara, I know you had discussed that you expected him to move. Why did the Islanders decide to keep him?
Because I think only the Bruins would have been where he would have wanted to go.
And once they got Lindholm, it just didn't
That was it. Sense. That was it.
Okay. What about Jake DeBrusk? Why wasn't he moved from Boston?
Well, the Bruins probably weren't going to get his value back. And they tried. They even tried to do a signing so that way people know what you're getting, because they would have had to do a qualified offer, and that could have been a very costly move for whoever picked them up. I got to think that he might have changed his mind. Because when you're playing, on the line with Bergeron and Marchand, even though Bergeron's been out for a few games, you like your chances. Like
Manny, thanks for the bits again. Appreciate it. Thank you.
He's putting up numbers, he's playing well, and I gotta say, if once Bergeron is back, I think that line is going to start lighting it up, because you can't keep that talent off the score sheet long. So I think he might have changed his mind, and said, you know what, let's ride it out. Because you think he wants to go to Arizona?
No.
No. You think he wants to go to Anaheim? No. He wants to be on a winning team.
Yeah, he knows what he has in Boston. That once again, thank you, Manny, for the 54 bits. So we've got 95 bits from Manny today. Thank you, Manny. You're awesome. You're awesome, brother. Hey, so what about Phil Kessel?
That's one. I have that on my list here as one of the two players I was stunned that didn't get traded. Kessel, I don't know. I don't know why they're going to lose him at the end of the year. Unless he resigns there, but I find that hard to believe.
What about
there's no way he's staying there.
Tomas Hertl? I know
I'm not surprised because I believe he signed a contract
to stay. Right?
Yeah, to stay. Like they really wanted to keep him, and they had said if they can't, get an agreement before the deadline, he'd be moved. He got an agreement, and he's not being moved.
What about JT Miller?
Again, they're going for it. They made some minor deals to get some players in. They weren't going to do anything crazy because they are a borderline team right now.
Mm-hmm. So they didn't bring players in, but they kept what they had.
They brought in some minor players, bottom 2 defensemen, bottom 6 forward, and that's all you could. And they did the same thing as Winnipeg. Like both those teams decided they're going to go for it because they're close. And out in the West, anything can happen because you're really looking at 3 other teams.
We got people are fired up. The tea's ready. The tea is ready, my friend.
Yep, so, it's tea time.
Was there anybody else that maybe didn't move that you felt like should have moved?
I thought for sure that New Jersey would have gotten rid of PK Subban. And this just shows you where his stock is in this league now. It's nothing because he's just not the player he once was. He's not the player. If you were to get him, he'd be, bottom pair of defense because he's not good defensively anymore. And he's a liability if anything.
He's been around for a while now, so.
I was surprised. I was surprised in Toronto got Giordano. I thought they were going to have to settle for a PK Subban.
And we also talked about Toronto should have went defense, possibly a goaltender. So that one didn't make sense as well.
Well, Giordano they picked up, and that was really good. That's good for them.
Yeah, but you would have really thought they would have went goaltender.
Absolutely.
Because of the deficiency there with goaltending. They have the players to score, but they really didn't have the defense to stop them. So let's talk about a defenseman. And I want to bring this man up. I know how excited you are about HampusLindholm, who is now the new addition for the Boston Bruins. Saw his first action on the ice last night for the Boston Bruins in a win, a 3-2 win over Tampa Bay. Very big win for the Bruins.
Absolutely.
When we talk about the standings, now they are no longer in the wild card currently with that win, and they dropped Tampa into the wild card. Played 23 minutes on the ice, right? 1 assist, +2. He was the top defenseman for the Bruins.
And it was glaring, Eric. Glaring. And, I watched him play. Look, we are spoiled with Charlie McAvoy. Charlie McAvoy is a really solid defenseman. But I'll tell you, watching Lindholm play and bringing it out of the Bruins' end, I haven't seen that in a long time. Nothing like that. It's probably since Ray Bork. Like he's that confident in his ability to move the puck up to the right person, with the right pass. Everything he did was immaculate. And there was such a sense of calming in their end with him out there. I mean, it helps when McAvoy's the other pair, but McAvoy still makes mistakes.
I would say this too, though. He looked like he integrated himself really well, even in the first game. You could tell that he talked about a couple of the practices that they've had, and he just felt comfortable. So it wasn't awkward. I think the fact that they signed him for so long now goes to show that, look, he could be a staple for this organization for a long time.
Absolutely.
To come. And you know what? I think he wants to be here. You could tell the way he played yesterday that he was excited.
It's his whole demeanor. Like when he had the initial interview, he was like, I know I can help this team. Like he's confident.
Yeah.
his ability. He's
I think it's a
look.
great move for
It's
Boston.
the small little details, just almost like a non-move, but gets around the player to make the right pass out of his zone. Like every time he brings it out of the Bruins' end, it is the right play at the right time, and there is no substitution for that in the playoffs. There is none.
No, listen. We talked about it earlier. We're very spoiled right now in Boston because the Celtics are red hot.
Yep.
And this move with Boston, they were playing good hockey to begin with.
Yeah.
I think this just elevates them to a point where, look, we're going to be talking about them. We're going to be doing a Stanley Cup final show because the Boston Bruins are going to be in it. That's how confident I am from what I saw last night. They moved the puck. Look, and they didn't need a lot from a lot of the other guys. And then you get a hat trick from Pastrnak, right? With Bergeron out. Think about Bergeron didn't even play last night.
Right.
How much different would that have been too if Bergeron's on the ice?
Right. You don't lose faceoffs.
Yeah. So to me, I think Boston, this was a great move. I know how excited you were. And sometimes I think you do the Homer thing. We all do it where this guy's going to be great. But when I saw it with my own eyes last night, you could see he's just such a dynamic player for them.
We didn't get to see Lindholm play very often being out in Anaheim on a team that doesn't win.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of games like, when the Bruins played Anaheim, he was pretty decent, but you don't notice because of, the lopsidedness of the teams. But you noticed last night when the Bruins were playing Tampa Bay and, for the lack of a better phrase, Tampa Bay has owned Boston.
Yeah.
For the better part of the last 3 seasons. Now, that went out the window last night. Went out the window. It was complete domination on the Bruins over Tampa Bay. Yes, it was a close game because they have that goaltender that, and Swayman mashed them.
If you think about it, the Bees were putting up so many more shots. I think it was the second period that I was watching, and they had only had one shot, and Boston had 14 at one point. And I'm going, okay, it's just sheer domination. So,
right.
Look,
and that is bringing it out of your own zone. So there's, look, if you can't bring it out of your own zone, you're just going to be hemmed in from any good team. And, if you have that guy that can bring it out, because you can see the difference when Clifton and Forbert were on the ice and they had a tough time bringing it out because that forechecking, and they kept coughing it up. Well, when Lindholm and McAvoy are out there, it's different. When Grzelcyk and Carlo are out there, it's different. The Bruins have the best top 4 defense in the league right now.
Something to get excited about. You know what else we could get excited about? Face-off. So we're going to discuss or argue the new DH. We call it the Ohtani rule, is what they're calling it in baseball. And what this rule is basically if Ohtani, for instance, would be pitching, he's playing DH, even though he gets removed as the starting pitcher, he's able to continue batting as the DH now. He is not taken out of the game. One of us has to be for this, and one of us has to be against this. Seeing that I am first this week, I am completely against this. So that means you're for this new rule. I will start us off, and I will say right from the beginning, we are trying to change baseball way too much, way too fast. If you look at what you're asking us to do now, then what's to stop them from saying we could put a relief pitcher in the 3rd inning, and then if you want, put him back in the 7th inning, because it really doesn't matter. Once a play is out, he's out. That's the way it used to be. I understand the talent. What they're trying to do in Major League Baseball is continue to have this guy on the field because they can sell him. They're not trying to better the game. This doesn't make the game better. This is only because you want to glorify a guy because he's dynamic in what he does. To me, it's no different than if you take a batter out and then you go later on, oh, you know what? He's better against this pitcher. Why can't I bring him back in then? because that should be the rule. Then, if you can able to do it for a pitcher, why can't you do it for hitters? You make a defensive switch, you pull a guy that the guy that he replaced can't come back in the game. Now you're saying to me it's okay to do that. So unless they're going to change it clear across the board, it doesn't make sense why it's good for one player and not for others. Go ahead.
Okay, so you said something along the lines of, why are you trying to change the game so much so fast?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the reason is because it's boring. The game has become so slow, it is boring. It is almost impossible to watch a full game.
Okay.
It's almost impossible. It's easier if you're at the ballpark, but that's becoming almost an impossibility for the average person. So, you have to change the game at some point in some things.
Absolutely.
And wait. Now, you said also that you're trying to glorify this one guy. Yes, because everybody wants to see this one guy pitch and hit.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been done in a long time.
Okay.
So, yes, they are trying to glorify this one guy because they want people to watch the games.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is a pitcher that can stay in the game, and that all seems wrong, but it is making the game more exciting. It is making a game bearable to watch, at least for one team.
Okay.
At least one team.
Okay.
It's better than these 4-hour snoozers.
So I'm going to ask you one question, and then we're going to end this. Why is it okay for one player, not the rest?
Well, anybody can pitch and hit if you want.
So now you want, okay. So now you want your first base. So you want Xander Bogaerts on the mound for one inning because then he could just keep coming in and out.
No, that's not what it's saying.
It is saying
he's
that,
not
though.
coming in and out.
Once
you're taken out as a pitcher, you cannot pitch again.
Okay, so once you're taken out as a defensive substitution, you can't come back in. Why can't you just come back in?
Hey, I'm not saying it's perfect, but
it's wrong,
at least
and it's wrong.
No,
it's a horrible rule. It's and they call it the Ohtani rule for a reason because the only guy that's going to be able to do it.
Can do it.
Exactly, it's ridiculous. It's a dumb rule.
Hey, there are some pitchers that can hit
bigger bases, the time clock. Like I'm okay with that. The pitch clock, I'm okay with that. Now you're going to now you're allowing one guy to be able to come in and out. Like I don't know.
Hey, if Chris Sale wants to bat as a DH,
throw him in. I'd love to see that. He can't even pitch without pulling a rib. Pick and roll time.
It's fractured, isn't it?
It's fractured. Pick and roll. This one was an odd one, but it is our 12th show. And we decided of season 2. We were deciding on number 12, the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL, Tom Brady. We would both agree that he's the number 12 of all time. That was going to be too easy, Ron. So we decided we're going to do the other 12s in the NFL.
The other 12s.
The other 12s. And that would be Aaron Rodgers, Roger Staubach, Jim Kelly, Joe Namath, and Terry Bradshaw.
And they are the other 12s.
All number 12s would not have beat Brady at this at all. But we diverse and go. Here we go. Number 5. Even though he wanted 2 championships, I had to put him at 5. Joe Namath. 62, 63, and 4. Absolutely atrocious. 27,000 yards passing, 173 touchdowns, only 220 interceptions. Not bad at all. Guy made it to 5 Pro Bowls, which is pretty impressive. 1 All-Pro. He won a Super Bowl and an AFL before they became the NFL. So again, 2 championships, but his record's atrocious.
And you forgot to mention his 50% completion percentage.
I wasn't even going to waste my time. They're horrible.
He is terrible. First of all, how did he win?
Right there, baby. Did the guarantee. You got the guarantee. I mean, he's known more for that and the fur coat.
From an average quarterback.
He's an average Joe. But what I would say, no dodgeball here. Listen, if you look at the fact that he's better known for his fur coat and that one thing waving the number one, that's it, dude. That was it. Because if people looked at his numbers, they wouldn't even talk about this guy.
Typical Jet.
And the fact that he wanted to kiss, what was their name?
Doesn't matter.
That was probably all he's really known for. So at number 4, Jim Kelly. Didn't win a Super Bowl. As great as they were, there was 4 straight Super Bowls with Buffalo. You always felt bad. Good, decent record, 101-59, 35,000 passing yards, 237 touchdowns, 175 interceptions, 5 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro. I had to put him at 4. I couldn't put him below Namath just because of the numbers. But again, no Super Bowls. At number 3, Roger Staubach. 85-29, 22,700 yards passing. But if you look at the errors, again, you could start to see where people started to pass more. But 153 touchdowns, 109 interceptions, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Again, solid numbers. You can't really complain. But again, not better than at number 2, Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw, 100.
You were doing so well.
And 51. Hold on, 27,989 yards passed, 212 touchdowns, 210 interceptions. That was where the knock was for me. 3-time Pro Bowler, 1 All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champ. Again, phenomenal, 1 MVP. But then how do you go past Aaron Rodgers is the best number 12 after the best number 12? 139-67 and 1 tie. That still drives me nuts. 55,000 yards passing. So again, we know the error, they pass all over the place. But listen to this, Ron. 449 touchdowns, 93 interceptions. The man hasn't even thrown 100 interceptions in his career. And he threw 4 last year. So if he does that again this year, he still won't throw 100 interceptions. 10-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, only 1 championship, but 4-time MVP. Aaron Rodgers has to be the best number 12. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You had it right. I think this is the second week in a row.
I think we are really getting
this
scary,
is scary
that we're thinking alike.
This is scary.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
We're going to have to change something up next
Look,
week.
Joe Namath, I don't even think he was anything special. He's not good. He's not a good quarterback. Not a good quarterback.
No.
Of course, Jim Kelly actually had the second best passing completion percentage out of this group.
Yeah. That run and shoot, the run and gun teams that they had in Buffalo,
again,
man.
I love Jim Kelly. I think he's a great quarterback. Yes, I think he's a great quarterback. He got them to 4 Super Bowls. Didn't win any of them, and that's why he's sitting there.
You know, Ron, what we should do on one of these pick and rolls? Greatest quarterbacks never to win one, like Dan Marino, Jim Kelly. You know what I mean? We could do that.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be a fun one to do. We'll talk about that.
Again, Starbuck.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Only 29 losses.
Yeah. In 2 championships. I wish he had, some substance though. I know back then it was more of a run game. Yeah. And that kind of hurts him. And he did have under 60% completion.
And if I could be mistaken in this, but I believe he had a military stint in there.
Yeah, you might be right too.
So I think that's why he didn't play as long as some of the others.
Yeah, and Terry Bradshaw, you look at those 4 Super Bowls, and that's what I was thinking, and I'm like, oh, well, that's an easy one, right? Yeah, but his completion percentage was only 51.9.
And let's look at the team he had around him.
It was like every position was a Hall of Famer.
Joe Namath would have put up those numbers. Maybe not.
So, and then you look at Aaron Rodgers' numbers. It's like, wow.
That interception thing just blew my mind.
Wow. It's like, 65%, 449 touchdowns, and under 100.
Yeah.
No matter how you slice that. So he goes 4 touchdowns and 1 interception, in a game.
Yeah.
And I'll take that every single week.
Yeah.
But at least win another one.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Again, I think, I still wouldn't put him ahead of the other 12. But
No,
I think at least
it's not even close. It's
not even close. So if you enjoy what you're watching, we finally pick and roll back-to-back weeks of the same. Scary. Check us out every Friday night at 6 p.m. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We are live. We are fan interactive. We have had Kenny join us tonight. Manny's been great with the bits. Thank you so much on Twitch. Follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram. Listen to us on our podcast if you don't have time to watch Amazon, Anchor, Google, and Spotify, and TuneIn now. Join our Discord. Ron's got the Discord up right now. That's the Rhode Island Broadcasting Discord, where he's posting all the shows and tons of different shows that you can see on Rhode Island Broadcasting. You can also join the Sports Unfolded Discord. And again, just so much being posted. All our rankings are posted there. Any kind of new info. Our polls are posted on there as well. So join in for that. Join us on our Sports Unfolded sports polls on Facebook as well. We do all of our first. That's a Facebook group. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, email us at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com so we can communicate with you on how we can have thousands of eyes on your business daily. And you can help us continue to grow and do even more for Sports Unfolded. But we'd love to get some businesses to sponsor us so we can continue to advertise for them and they can help us grow as well. So it'd be a mutual bonding. That would be phenomenal. But Ron, it's that time, and it's been an interesting week here. Let me get this up for you so we can discuss our predictions. And we have now gotten back into a tie. 53% is not very good. We started off gangbusters. But listen, we are picking some of the toughest games each week, some of the big games each week. So again, none of these are guaranteed wins. I think that's the important part. We're not
doing, the Arizona Coyotes versus, the Florida Panthers. Yeah. We're not doing that kind of stuff. We're not doing
that. We're picking the toughest. But again, if you'd like to get your name on that list, let us know, chime in, email us, whatever you need to do, and let us know who you picked for the week. And then basically we can get your name up there. So we are going to, as we normally do now, flip-flop. I start this week.
Okay.
So first game, NBA, Milwaukee at Memphis. That's on March 26th. I am going Milwaukee. Ja Morant, it will be out for 2 weeks. As well as the Grizzlies have played, I think Milwaukee is just going to have enough to get by them. I think the Grizzlies, slight loss without Ja Morant.
I have Milwaukee, as I did my predictions earlier. So
I did the same thing now. I wanted to make sure. I'm trying to be more like you, Ron.
Yeah.
On March 30th.
Dan, put your picks in. Manny, you too.
Miami at Boston. So the Celtics, Miami Heat, the number one team in the East, are playing the Boston Celtics, who are number 2, tied for 2. So this could be a possible take over the number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference. March 30th. Who do you got?
Oh, I got Boston.
I've got Boston as well.
There's no way they're losing this win.
If they do this to us, every time I've picked Boston, they've lost. Every time I don't pick them, they win. Let's see what happens this week. March 30th as well. We got the Phoenix Suns at the Golden State Warriors. I am going Phoenix. I think the Warriors have fallen off a little bit. And listen, Chris Paul back, and you can see the Suns and what they're running. The only thing that could derail this is if it's a rest game, which drives me nuts.
I went Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix that wasn't even a question.
This is where we'll probably differ because you're the hockey guy, and I just go back based off of what
that's been my problem this year. I with the hockey, I kind of go with who I like.
Yeah, see,
and that's always gets me in trouble.
So on March 26th, Edmonton Oilers at the Calgary Flames.
I'm going Calgary.
So did I. I went Calgary.
Okay, we're picking everything the same.
That's why I think we shouldn't do it beforehand. This might not work in our benefit. March 27th, you got the Colorado Avalanche at the Minnesota Wild. I am going Minnesota. Marc-Andre Fleury. This is their game to show them that they're for real, that they're trying to compete in the West.
I also have Minnesota.
Wait, I told you. Next time because I think when we pick at the same time, we
There's
change
pressure,
each
and
other's
the
minds
other person
sometimes.
changes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
All right. How about on 3/29, New York Rangers at the Pittsburgh Penguins?
I have the New York Rangers.
So do I. So do I, my friend. I don't know.
And here's where I'm either going to hit a home run on these next two games or a 3-pitch strikeout.
All right. I love it. I love it. Thank you for following. We got to follow as well on Twitch.
Cheeky
Thank
Chuck
you.
Kai.
Thank you so much. So,
Chuck, get your picks in here. See, so you can get on this list.
want to become famous. Yeah, we all want to become famous. Hey, March 25th. So we are talking about tonight, my friend. Game might even be tipping off soon. Number 4 Providence versus number 1 Kansas.
I'm swinging for the fences.
You're not going Providence.
I'm going Providence.
I'm going Kansas. All right.
Look, I am 2-0 with Providence.
I gotcha.
2-0.
All right. At number 15, St. Peter's versus number 3 Purdue. I am picking Purdue. The run ends today for the Peacocks, even on National Peacock Day. Purdue wins this
There's
game.
no way they lose on National Peacock Day. I am going St. Peter's.
St. Peter's.
That's the different game right there.
All right.
Oh, no. So college, you went with the favorites. Typical.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's what I do. So tomorrow night, the Elite 8, we've got number 5 Houston versus number 2 Villanova.
Oh, I didn't see this on the list. Houston.
You don't pay attention.
Villanova. Hey, I'm sick.
Okay.
So what was it again?
Number 5 Houston versus number 2 Villanova.
I'm going to go Villanova.
I went Nova as well, even though Houston, second best defense in the entire nation. Also, pay attention here. We did one more. Number 4 Arkansas at number 2 versus number 2 Duke. I am picking the Duke Blue Devils. Mike Krzyzewski.
I'm not going against him. You kidding me?
So you're going Duke as well.
I'm going Duke as well.
All right, so we have 2 different games, tonight's games. Both games, Kansas versus Providence and Purdue versus St. Peter's. All right, we'll have to see. So as we normally do, how we end our show, Ron, we do our final thought. Doesn't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It could be about anything going on in the world today. I am first this week, so I will go with my final thought. And my final thought is actually on David Ajabo. He's a Michigan defensive lineman. And he tore his Achilles.
I heard that.
During the pro day.
Yeah, that's too bad.
What bothered me the most is I witnessed the lack of compassion displayed by some of the coaches, some of the personnel that was running it, where as he blew out his Achilles, fell to the ground, dropped the ball, was writhing in pain. You could tell the kid was in pain. There was somebody that walked by him, picked up the football, and then continued to walk back by him, never even checked on him. And it's a shame that as you start to see these athletes who are giving their blood, sweat, and tears to try to make it to the next level, that this is how a league would treat these players without even showing a bit of sympathy to at least have somebody check to see if he's okay. Obviously, with this injury now, he's going to be out for quite some time. His draft stock drops. There's so many different things that come into play with this. And at the end of it, it wasn't even that bothered me. It's the fact that how do you look at, well, we got hello, shocking news from the world. The European football champion Italy lost. Yes, they did to North Macedonia. You're right. That was the first time ever in back-to-back Italy has not made the World Cup.
Wow.
Which was crazy to think about. That's amazing. Great point. Thanks for bringing that up. I was just upset with the fact that how do you want to join a league that doesn't even care about you? These kids want to play so bad, and obviously the financial part of it. But you can tell that, you know what, they're just numbers in this league, and you see it all the time when guys get cut, traded, right? It happens all the time. That was just blatant display of it. The NFL should be ashamed of themselves. They should have medical staffs that are at these pro days just in case something like this. So somebody shows some compassion and caring when something like this happens. I wish him well. I hope he gets drafted high, regardless, because he was considered, a high draft pick, and we see what happens. But the NFL should be ashamed, and the fact that the video it's out there, you could check it out on Twitter. Just watch this guy walk by him and pick up the football and walk back. It was disgraceful. That was my final thought.
It was a very good one and a great point. And this guy blew my final thought. I was going to mention that. So
mention it anyway.
No.
You got another one?
Yeah, because we have a lot of Italy and and France and UK fans that love soccer, and I thought that was going to be a great one, but he kind of blew my final thought.
Shocking news, though. I like it. We get it.
It is. That's big. That's huge news. So I'm going to go with Dave Roberts, manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, that decided to guarantee the Dodgers will win the 2022 World Series.
Joe Namath.
Guarantee. He guarantees it. Yeah, you better hope that all your guys like Mookie and Freeman, all these like $200 million players, stay healthy.
Yeah.
Or do their job.
Oh, we got another question here. Real quick. So do we have the United States have football fans as well as Europe and South America? And we've had this come up in the past. The United States is not as big on football as the overseas, but we do have the MLS, which is our national association for soccer, World Cup, things of that nature when it becomes relevant. So again, if you look at USA played Mexico to a tie, we normally will follow that when it's the whole country, but it's not as big or predominant as it is overseas. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ron.
That's okay. That was an important question. So, if somebody keeps talking about soccer in the comments, we obviously going to talk about it. So,
yeah.
So Dave Roberts decided to throw down the guarantee that his team, that is basically an all-star team, is going to win the World Series. Well, don't count your chickens before they hatch. Season hasn't even started. There are always injuries. So
Kershaw.
we don't want to jinx any of your pitching staff.
Kershaw.
Yes. We don't want to jinx any of your players.
Manny chimed in. Italy is out of the World Cup. Yes.
So, personally, I think that's irresponsible for a manager to do that before the season even starts. That if I was the owner of the team, I would make him go and publicly apologize for the comment. That's what I would do. I have no room for that kind of a thing from a manager.
Agreed.
No room for it. It's not warranted before the season starts, because you didn't win anything last year with an all-star team. You didn't win anything the year before with an all-star team. So what makes you think that you're good enough as a manager to pull it off? Yeah. Because you're not the best manager in the league. Because you had the best team.
Yeah. Sometimes you try to psych up your guys, and it doesn't always work. And listen, we thought the Lakers were going to be better than they were. And guess what? They're one of the worst teams in the league. So we'll have to see. And again, like you said, injuries always come into play.
That's right.
Great points. Want to thank everybody that joined us tonight. You guys have been amazing. We got some follows, some bits. Manny, thank you for the bits tonight.
I would like to recognize the person that's I can't tell what his name is because it's obviously not in a language that I know.
Yes, but thank you for the soccer questions tonight. Cheeky Chuck Kai, thank you for following us as well. Kenny, thanks for joining us tonight. Tune in, during the course of the week, we will do our NHL ranking show with Ron and our NBA ranking show with Kenny. We also have our Major League Baseball special coming up April 5th at 7 p.m., which will break down all the teams, the divisions, who's going to win, and Kenny might join us for that. So this should be interesting because if you watched our NFL preview show, the Detroit Lions were going to the Super Bowl. So if you want some crazy outtakes, join us on April 5th at 7 p.m. for that. Ron.
And then go with my picks.
And then go with Eric, as I'm normally right. Ron, I want to thank you tonight for joining. I know you've been under the weather, and I appreciate your time. I hope you begin to feel better. I want to thank everybody that joined us live. I want to thank everybody that's going to watch us in the future. Keep tuning in, follow, do whatever you can to help support Sports Unfolded, and then sponsor us. Don't forget to email us about sponsoring. Ron, I want to tell you to have a great night. Everybody out there, have a great night. All we want in this world is peace.